Stephen A. Smith, there are some days that I look forward to shaking your hand across the table when we're both in Bristol, Connecticut. Today, I almost wish I could reach through this camera and get you around the neck and shake your neck. Because the truth is, and you will not admit this publicly, if a healthy Tony Romo had played last night, my Dallas Cowboys would have won that game fairly easily by 2 or 3 touchdowns. I mean, the immortal Kyle Orton threw for 358 yards last night. So obviously, a healthy Romo coming off, I would say, his greatest fourth quarter ever at Washington, at least one of his most clutch fourth quarters ever, would have shredded that 29th ranked Eagles defense. And we saw once again that Monty Kiffin's Cowboy defense had nobody's number in the entire NFL except for the Philadelphia Eagles number. Dallas won 17-3 at Philadelphia. And last night in the second half, right on schedule, the unstoppable Nick Foles went all of 5 out of 10 for 66 total yards and produced only 1 touchdown. All of which is why, Stephen A. Smith, you were so incredibly lucky. If Tony Romo had not had season-ending back surgery, you would have lost our bet. You would be wearing that Tony Romo jersey as we speak right now. So I say to you, belatedly, Merry Christmas, my friend. Ho, ho, Romo. Because as we all know, right on schedule, at the end of the game, Kyle Orton turned predictably right back into Kyle Orton and threw the interception that ended a game that was way closer than it should have been in the first place, thanks to your Philadelphia Eagles.
Where do I begin, Skip? I mean, first of all,
nowhere.
Couple of things. My condolences to you. My heart goes out to you, LeBron James, Kenyon Martin, and all the Cowboy fans out there. They've broken your heart again. I've tried to warn you of this on many occasions. I tried to give you a heads up. You just won't listen. You just don't get it. See, when you bring up and you go through your soliloquy about what they would have done if Tony Romo were healthy and all of this other stuff, you keep forgetting what I continuously have told you, and Kerry Champion is our eyewitness to this. I said, whatever it takes to get in the way of what Dallas wants to do, it will happen. I did not sit there and say, oh, the teams would be better or more talented or anything like that. I said they are an accident waiting to happen. Interceptions, fumbles, or in this case, back surgeries. It really doesn't matter. And oh, by the way, as an aside, to show you how pathetic the Dallas Cowboys were, when our very own Adam Schefter broke the news that Tony Romo was going to be out for the season and that he wasn't going to be able to play, they spent 3 to 4 days categorically denying it, calling it day to day. Now, Skip, I don't know. Wait a minute. Don't sit there and try to lie to the public like that. The boy was out. Tony Romo was out, okay? We all know that if you had back surgery Friday, Skip Bayless, that it was planned. You don't just walk into, the hospital and get operated on and have your back operated on in a split second. These things are scheduled. So the fact that he ended up having surgery and that they spent days lying to it, you know why, Skip? Because they knew they needed every edge under the sun possible, and it still didn't work for them. Now, let me get back to the football game. I dare say to you that if Tony Romo had been healthy, exactly what happened would have happened, except it probably would have been a higher scoring game. That's all. The reality is that the Philadelphia Eagles underestimated the Dallas Cowboys to some degree because they weren't nearly as worried about Kyle Orton as they would have been about Tony Romo. But in the end, I can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, factually, unequivocally, what transpired last night would have transpired if Tony Romo had been there. You know why, Skip? Because Kyle Orton threw the interception just like Tony Romo would have thrown an interception. What happened against Green Bay? Tony Romo threw it a little bit behind. They ended up intercepting Tony Romo's pass, and there you have it. What did Kyle Orton do? He threw it behind the receiver, okay? It was an ill-advised pass, and this is exactly, and as far as I'm concerned, he was contaminated by Tony Romo. So that's really what this comes down to. Oh, by the way, DeMarco Murray came out there like a gangbuster, running over dudes. What does he do? They let him run the ball 17 times, but they let Kyle Orton throw the ball 46 times. You see what I'm trying to say here? So, again, we keep pointing to the same things about the Dallas Cowboys. They find a way to get in their own way. LaShawn McCoy did what he did. Nick Foles wasn't sensational, but he had a productive afternoon, or evening rather, with 2 TDs and about 263 yards passing. In the end, there's nothing that they did to blow your socks off, but they didn't have to, Skip. All they had to do was sit back in the cut and wait for Dallas to get in their own way, which is what they did. And now for the 3rd consecutive year, not only did they lose on the final game of the season, not only do they have the worst Week 17 record since 2000, but also, Skip, 2 years ago, they lost to the Giants in their regular season finale to miss the playoffs. Last year it was the Redskins to miss the playoffs, and now it's the Philadelphia Eagles. So everybody has had their turn but the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys, Skip? How about them Cowboys? They just never let you down, do they? They never let you down.